Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimAirport. I certainly hope you're having a wonderful day, because I'm certainly excited to be jumping in to this alpha version of SimAirport. It's a game all about building, managing, and maintaining your very own airport. Funnily enough, I bet you never would have guessed that. Today's going to be part one of a series that I said wasn't going to happen. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be aware that recently I mentioned that SimAirport is a game I would like to play on the channel in the future, but I wasn't going to be playing anytime soon because of some issues that I was having. Well, I've decided that I'm going to go back on that, and I am going to do sort of a mini-series here on the channel. I'm not promising this is going to last 20, 30 episodes, but it's going to go for as long as it can, because we may run into some game-breaking bugs a little bit later down the line. It is a very early alpha. This is a very, very early in development, but it is very promising. So, you might be looking at this and thinking, it looks a little bit like Prison Architect. You would be right. It has a lot of similarities visually and in terms of zones and all of that stuff, but there's a lot of differences too. So, let's get started. First things first, we have our ticketing area right here. We have two ticketing desks as well. Now, what we need to do is we need to go to Utilities. We need to get a conveyor line, and that conveyor line is going to come across like this, and we're also going to connect it to the ticketing desks. Now, the ticketing desks are where our passengers will drop off their luggage before heading through security with any carry-ons, and then they'll go to the gate agent desk, and eventually they'll go through the gate and onto a plane. But there's no planes there yet. We'll get planes in just a little bit. Now, this thing here is the baggage routing station, which is a hub on the tarmac where your baggage cart, which we'll get later, can pick up or drop off baggage, which will be either put on a plane or cycled back through the airport into baggage claim, which we'll get to in a moment. Now, what I'd like to do is go ahead and throw this, I'm thinking just there, to be honest, is probably a fine location. Although I could throw it up here as well, which would be probably fine as well. I don't know. I guess maybe there is probably the ideal spot for it. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll throw it there. So what we'll do is we'll bring a conveyor belt over like this and up like so. It has to go around the baggage routing station. This one's going to come down like so. It's going to go across like that. We're going to close that. And this conveyor belt is going to come back across, and it's going to go under this wall. It's going to come the whole way down here and to about that spot, and that should be totally fine. If we go to objects, we can get a baggage carousel, and I want to throw it just about there. If we go back into utilities, we can get a conveyor line and bring it across just like that. So that is going to be a decent little cycle for luggage for this airplane gate. As far as I can tell, you only need one baggage routing station. I've never needed more than that, but we'll see what happens in the not too distant future. We've got my workers doing what they need to do there. We only have 3 of them, so I am going to get 2 more of them, just to speed things up a little bit. Up here, you can see the current bank balance. You can see recent transactions. You can see how expensive it is per day for staff, and you can see a total there. Flight ops income is going to be 0 at the moment, because we don't actually have any planes that are going to be doing anything, so we'll deal with that in just a moment. Now, if we go into objects here, I want to get myself a hangar. And I want to get a small hangar, because we don't really need anything bigger than that. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and throw ourselves a small hangar just off to the side here. And when that gets built, in that hangar, we can keep our baggage cart, which is very, very important, because that is how we get luggage from the routing station to the aircraft, and from the aircraft to the routing station and into baggage claim. Now, while all that's going on, I'm going to slow the game down just a little bit, and I'm going to go to queues, because we do need queues. Queues are going to be quite important. So we're going to have a queue that goes like this. It's going to go like that, and it's going to go like that. And those 2 queues are going to be very important, because we assign them to a desk, and that way people aren't just going to crowd around the desk. They are in fact going to queue up for their tickets, which is probably a good idea, let's be honest. What we can also do is actually go in here and get ourselves a ticketing kiosk, which is not going to need a queue at all. It's basically self-check-in if you don't have any luggage that you need to check at the desk. So what we can do is, I mean, how expensive is it? 1,900. I think I want maybe 2 of these over on this wall. so that people can just immediately check in should they need to. Although I could throw a couple just there if I wanted to. That probably wouldn't hurt. I think, you know what, I'll save some money. I don't think we need them at the moment. Now let's see, what are these guys currently building? They're currently building that. And once we get this built, we can go ahead and get the baggage car. And then we'll have a circuit for luggage that is completely sorted. So come on, let's get the hangar done. There we go. Let's assign a vehicle. And it's going to be a baggage car, which is $2,500 and $5 hourly. So now that that's sorted, once the baggage carousel gets built, we are pretty much sorted to go ahead and start taking some flights. Actually, you know what? No, we're not. We need to go to queues. We need to expand a queue. And what I'd like to do is bring a queue from that spot back like that. I want to loop it back and loop it back again. And then loop it back again and back again. And maybe once or twice more. Now that is going to be the queue for security, which is obviously a very important part of getting through an airport. So we'll assign that. And now any passenger can go through here and then get through security. Same with these. You'll notice that there is actually an option for, if I go to here and say assign any passengers. That's because I can set it to coach only or first class only, which is not something I'm all that interested in doing. Something I would like to do though, is actually destroy this gate agent desk that's right here. Excuse me. My throat's a little bit weird at the moment. I've been traveling a lot lately and yeah, it's my throat's not doing great. So let's get a gate agent desk just there and just there. And what I'd like to do with those is get another queue going. So the queue for this is going to go like this, which is 5 that way. So it's going to just loop around a little bit like that. And this one's going to loop in a similar way. And you might be looking at this and going, well, why do you need 2 gate agent desks? It just makes things a little bit quicker. So that should be fine for the time being. That's not ideal in any stretch of the imagination, but that should be fine. Now, what I'd like to do is assign you to gate A1 and assign you to that queue, which is going to be for first class only. I'm also going to assign you to that queue, which is any passengers. This desk is going to be that queue, and also gate A1. So what we have is a setup where there are 2 desks for the 1 gate, which means passengers should be able to get through a little bit quicker. We also have a first class queue right there, which will hopefully keep people nice and happy. Now, with that all done, we are pretty much set up to go ahead and start accepting people into the airport, but I would like to get a couple of objects just to keep them a little bit happier. So we're going to get an ATM, and we're going to throw an ATM just there and there. And I'd also like to throw an ATM just there as well. Now, on top of that, I'd like to get myself an electronics vending machine right next to an ATM, as well as, I guess, some food vending machines there, and possibly some flight info displays just there and there as well to give them information on their flights. We could probably do the same next to the ATMs there with some flight info displays. Let's see. This is going to increase the capacity of my garbage zone, which is probably a good idea. So let's go ahead and throw a dumpster there and a dumpster there. Don't know if we desperately need them, but we might as well. I'm pretty sure there is a thing that lets me extend the capacity of my storage zone as well. Yeah, I totally can if I want to. Don't think I'm going to get anything that's in that area at the moment, though. I'm looking very specifically for some benches, which I think will keep my passengers very happy indeed. So we'll get a bench there and get a bench just there. We could throw one there, but I don't think that's going to do too much at the moment, so we'll not bother with that. Let's see, what else have we got in here that we could throw in to keep everybody happy? We could expand security. That is something I'd like to do eventually, but I don't think that's going to be much of an option at the moment. We could get more vending machines. I guess we'll get a food vending machine there. Is there a drinks vending machine? Because that is a drink machine, but that's for retail staff. That's not just a vending machine. I guess the food one might be what we're looking for. So we'll throw a couple more vending machines there. And with that, I think we're good. So let's click on airline interest. And we can get 2 afternoon flights from Aerotime. We've got a Bombardier CRJ 900 and a Boeing 737. So we'll accept those. A Forward Air has a morning and an afternoon flight on a Boeing 737 and 707 respectively. Pacific Airlines has another afternoon flight. I'm not going to take that just yet. And Aerostar has a morning flight on a 767. So we'll accept those. And now we need to go to schedule. So this is the flights that currently come into this airport. We have the first flight at 4 a.m. It's a Forward Air 6103. And then it's Aerostar 5327. We'll leave a little bit of a gap between those planes. Then Aerotime 3032 comes in at noon, followed by Aerotime 1320 and a Forward Air 1720. All of those have a nice little gap between them, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get passengers through the airport. So that means that when day 2 ticks over, once it gets to 4 a.m., we should have a plane landing, which will be beautiful. So we should eventually see passengers show up for their flight, which is kind of exciting. We're going to start making money, hopefully. Now, I guess I can take this opportunity to show you that you can indeed expand your airport significantly. You can build more taxiways. You can build more runways. You can build more aircraft gates. In fact, you can build an extra large one for larger planes, which is going to be very, very important later down the line. But for the time being, you know, we've got our little standard airplane gate right here. We're not going to go far beyond this for a while. It's going to take a little while to make money. The game doesn't run all that quickly, which is kind of my biggest complaint at the moment. It's a very, very slow game, but I'm kind of enjoying it. So there's the garbage services coming in. No one's been dropped off yet. I'm not entirely sure if this flight will actually land today. I'm not sure if that's a thing or how long you have to wait. I think it might be after 24 hours that the flights actually start getting routed to your airport. Oh no, there they are. So people are showing up, which is beautiful. Some of them are queuing in a very strange way. Like, you seem to be just avoiding security, but you did get through anyway, which is a bit weird. Not really sure why it seems like that isn't actually a sign. No, those people are using the queue. Some of them just aren't, though, which is just strange. Either way, we do not have passengers coming through the airport, which is pretty cool stuff if I do say so myself. We probably do need more benches, though. Just looking at all of this. So let's go to objects and let's go to bench. Now we can get a bench there, and a bench. Oh, is that a weird spot for a bench? Possibly. That might be a little bit too confined, which you definitely don't want. I guess I could put one over there. That probably wouldn't hurt. So we'll do that, and that'll be fine. So just a few more benches for the passengers to relax on. A lot of people coming through security, and a plane is landing. There it is. That's a Boeing 737. That is... what flight is that? That is a Forward Air 6103. Okay, not bad. Calling all passengers, a Forward Air 6103 will start boarding in 60 minutes. Please proceed to gate A1 in preparation for boarding. And please make way for the disembarking passengers. There we go. So that's kind of a weird thing with this default setup that the game gives you. You can turn this off, by the way. I didn't have to start with this as my setup, but I wanted to. Yeah, passengers come back through security. You can set it up so they don't. There are ways to stop that from happening. It's just a bit weird. I'm also thinking it might be an idea to go to zones and extend security a little bit. Because I think that might be the yeah. So basically what was happening was the queue didn't end in the security zone, I think. It seems like some people are still ignoring it, but I think the queue has to end in the security zone for that to work properly. Oh, hello. What did I just hit? Oh, E brings up real-time flight stats. So a Forward Air is departing. This one's taxiing and is now at the gate. Not bad. Not bad at all. So that flight is for all of these passengers? I guess. There's a lot of passengers at security at the moment. Now these guys are getting on the plane. It looks like we need a bigger queue for general passengers. But for the most part, that plane is due to leave in 20 minutes. There's a couple of passengers that still aren't on the flight. So this plane is now late. And now it's leaving. So that plane was late to go because not everyone was on the flight because this queue wasn't long enough. So what I'm thinking we'll do is actually destroy these benches And we'll extend the general purpose queue. The floors are also absolutely filthy at the moment, which I'm not a big fan of, but we'll fix that in a little bit. So not destroy, but remove this queue. Let me go to objects and put a bench there, and a bench there, and a bench just there. And then what I can do is fill up that space for the queue, which is much, much longer, and that'll serve all passengers, which is absolutely perfect. So there we go. That should help things. Now, do we have any more flights coming in? That's a good question. What time is it? It is 10:38. No, the next flight is at noon. Aero time 3032. People are arriving for it. Can we get another morning flight? That's a nighttime flight. We can't get that yet. Afternoon flights, no. Morning flight, no, because we need a larger gate. There is another flight we can take. It is an afternoon one, so we'll take that risk. Ah, yeah, they're overlapping slightly. What I can do is shuffle these all to be closer together. And now we have... They're just about going to work. If one flight ends up delayed, then they all get delayed, but we should wind up being okay. And with this longer queue, we should be able to get everybody onto the plane relatively quickly. Because we're not going to run into a situation where people aren't able to queue up to get onto the plane. They can queue up right away, and there's plenty of space for them. So there's the plane landing. It is a Bombardier CRJ-900. Everyone seems to be queued up for it. There's a few people still going through ticketing, but I'm wondering if that's maybe for the next flight. Because this isn't a very big plane. So it seems like it's full. Yeah, that plane left early. So these people are all queuing up for the next one, which should be landing very, very soon. There it is. So that's a Boeing 737. And we seem to be making money, which is quite fun. I'm quite enjoying the fact that we are, in fact, making money. And then, of course, all the passengers leave like so. I'm still not really sure how we'd go about setting up an optimal way for passengers to get out of here, but for the most part, it seems like it would involve just a passageway coming down here and up into baggage claim. But I don't know, there's a 707. Again, all the passengers shouldn't have too much trouble getting onto that. How do we get nighttime flights? Because we don't have anything coming in at night. So night requires at least one runway to be upgraded with lights. What do we need to upgrade a runway with lights? $25,000? I feel like we can't afford that. I feel like that's not too expensive. It does get me more flights. And then the ILS, the instrument landing system, allows larger airliners to conduct a precision instrument approach. This means fewer weather delays and a lower risk of weather-related incidents. Also gets me big boy airlines. And then this gives me increased safety. Not really interested, to be honest. I don't think we need any of that. We just got to get the lights, and then we can get some nighttime flights going on. So the lights are... oh, they're installed. Good. So now we can get some nighttime flights, which I'm definitely interested in. So there's a nighttime flight, and there's a nighttime flight. That's all we're getting, but that's totally fine. So that is Aerostar 6120 and a Ford Air 665. They are overlapping slightly, so no, they're not. Can I get them to go right at the beginning of this? I don't like that I can't really scroll this all that well. Yeah, it's a little strange the way this works. It has to go there. I mean, technically back here would be a nighttime flight. Although I guess that's like technically when the airport's closed. Most airports I think do open around 4 a.m. I know Manchester Airport opens at, I think it does open at 4 a.m. I'm pretty sure Manchester Airport opens around 4 a.m. I was in Manchester Airport overnight after a gig. I flew into Manchester early December. I think it was around December 5th, 2016. I flew into Manchester, went straight from the airport to the gig, saw the gig, and went straight from the gig to the airport. Then I spent the night in the airport, and it was like 3 or 4 hours, about 4 hours actually, in arrivals. I just had to sit downstairs in arrivals because that was the only open part of the airport, which was freezing, by the way. I did, however, get to watch Planet Earth 2, that BBC documentary from last year. I watched that in the airport. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube. Around 4 a.m. the airport opened, But around 6, I had to wait until 6 a.m. for any of the stores to open, and I had to wait for the lounge to open. It's the only time I've been in one of the executive lounges in an airport was after I'd been awake for so long that sitting anywhere else was miserable. I'll tell you what though, those lounges, they is nice. Executive lounges in airports, they're nice. Anyway, with that said and done, we do still have a bit of money, which kind of has me thinking that we should look into expanding the airport a little bit. I just don't want to go about this the wrong way is the problem. I want to make sure I do it right. I want to make sure I don't, overdo anything. But I would kind of like another airplane gate, and I'm kind of eyeing up the bigger gate, but just, like I said, I don't horrendously want to overdo it. Let's go for a bit of an expansion over here. I think I could probably move baggage claim a little bit, possibly. I don't know. Baggage claim might have to be moved. We'll see what happens. I do think I want to extend the terminal section over to here a little bit further and get like another runway over there, maybe a runway down here. But that's very, very expensive to do. I think, honestly, the easiest thing to do for the beginning here would just be another airplane gate there. But that will cause some issues in terms of spacing because we're not really going to have all that much room for some good queues around here. So I might do that kind of thing and leave a significant gap between them there. So I'll do that sort of thing, which is $28,000. I would like to get another taxiway here, which is another $16,000. And then what we're going to need to do is go to build and go to foundation and build out to about there. That's 100,000. Good lord, this is... Oh, no, I can't afford that. Okay. Yeah, that makes things a little tricky. That definitely makes things tricky. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let those get built. We're obviously not going to be able to do anything with it just yet, but what we can do is we can go to build and we can get some offices in here. So what I'd like to do is go to here and get something like this, which isn't going to be too enormous or anything. So that's 9. That's probably fine. So $39,000 to build that's going to be totally okay. So go and get that done. We have this all built. Obviously, there's no connections to it, but we'll get that eventually. We're going to get this new area built, and we're going to put some offices in there. Because what we can do is get ourselves a CFO and a COO, which will let me research things. And one of the things I can research is bank loans. And I feel like bank loans are going to be useful. Now, this isn't actually in a proper functioning restroom zone, which is okay. What we'll do is go to wall and build a wall across there. I'll build a wall across there. And I'll do this sort of thing as well. So we'll get that all built so that that will be a functioning restroom. And then what we can also do is go to door and throw a door just there and just there. Now that's a functioning restroom again, which is beautiful news. We'll get some doors in there, just like so. And what I'd like to do is go to build again, and I'd like to get some carpet for both of those rooms. So just like that. I'd also like some tiles for the restrooms, because apparently they're not currently covered in proper tiles. So we'll get that all done. Looks like everything's still functioning quite nicely. These guys are putting the carpet in, of course. Let's go to zones, and let's go to office. So that's an office, and that's an office. They both need an office desk and an office chair. So if we go to search and go to office, we can get an office desk like that, and like that, and a chair like that, and like that. And so those are both going to be functioning offices, which is beautiful stuff, which means we need to get ourselves a... I can't get either of these because I have to research operations and research finance. So finance is probably the one I want to go for because I want bank loans. So let's start researching finance, and then we can get ourselves a chief financial operator or officer. I think it's operator, isn't it? It's not It is operator, yeah. No, it's officer. It is officer. Chief Financial Officer. That's fine. Yeah, I also think we are making money, right? Yeah, so in a day, we make $21,000. That is based on all flights being full with 0 cancellations, 0 delays, and 0 missed flights. So we could be making some significant money as long as everything goes to plan. So let's hope that everything just continues to go to plan, I guess. I also realized I could have had this working if I just moved it over here. This would have been fine. But I don't want to half-ass it, basically. I want to do it properly. I want to give it proper room for queues and all that stuff. Oh, people are getting angry. I'm not entirely sure why people are getting angry, but people were getting angry there. So we're 90% done on the finance research, which is beautiful news. We're getting a decent amount of money from the various planes that are landing here at the airport. People don't generally seem to be too annoyed. The first class passengers have boarded. The coach passengers are finally getting on the plane as well. And the plane is actually running a little bit late, which is a problem, but it's off. That's the last plane of the day, so it running a little bit late isn't too much of a big deal. And now we have finance, which means we can go to staff and we can get ourselves a CFO. $100 hourly is fairly pricey, but wait, do you seriously just stand at the entrance? That's amazing. He just stands at the entrance. Okay, so 18 hours and $6,000 for bank loans is not a bad idea. Pricing will let me adjust the price of my runways. So basically, it determines whether or not planes are paying a lot or very little money for my runways. I want bank loans first. And then I kind of want operations, to be honest. So we'll get bank loans and operations. And that'll let me get the COO, which lets me upgrade my buses, build roads, and get multi-lane access to the airport as well. So that seems like a pretty good start. I think we put a good dent in, you know, a good strong foundation for the airport here. It is just going to take a little bit more work before it is running perfectly. Now, we do have a few more flights coming in here. We have Galactic Point, who we can't accept any from. Rexicana, we can't get any there either. WestJet, we can get 2, so I'll take those. And I'm going to sincerely hope I can actually accommodate those flights. Actually, no, I can't take any more nighttime flights, can I? So one of these is going to need to be cancelled. So that's going to be 4,600. And that's fine. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the WestJet flight, which is an issue. We could probably go for is that a morning flight? I don't know if that is a morning flight. Let's shuffle these about a little bit so they're closer together. Let's not leave any gaps between them. I think we can take one more morning flight, though. So if we go to here and go to Juno Connect, that's a nighttime flight. Starflight has a morning one. So let's take a morning flight from Starflight. And yeah, it's right in there. So that's fine. We have pretty much covered every space that we can. So there is always a plane landing or taking off or doing something, which is good. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. We're making a bit of money despite having to cancel a flight there and all that stuff. We are making $31,840 on a perfect day. We're working towards bank loans, and I'd say we've made a pretty good start. So with that in mind, thank you, Ken, for watching. This has been SimAirport. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more of this as well, do be sure to like the video, support it. Part 1 of a new series, of course. So, you know, just do the thing. Now, with that in mind, once again, thank you, Ken, for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.